Welcome back. The Justice, Crime, Prevention and Security Cluster have given its first media briefing following the State of the Nation address. Police Minister Bheki was part of the briefing and refused to be drawn into the sacking of National Police Commissioner Khetla Sithole. Let's find out what else came out of that briefing from my colleague Linda Mnisi, who joins us live now from Pretoria. Linda, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time. Let's just start off with, we heard the Police Minister refusing to actually say anything about the sacking of the National Commissioner Khetla Sithole. Was there anything said at this security cluster briefing by the ministers that were there?
Well, you'll remember there was great anticipation, Tsecho, around this particular issue, given the fact that the President said that agreement was a mutual agreement. And there's been a dark cloud hanging over the police commissioner. But also, if you look at the relationship that the now axed or in the future will be ex-police commissioner between himself and the police minister, Bheki. There's really been a lot of issues there, not quite, properly ventilated as to what those issues are. But of course, his, axing was of much interest in this particular briefing, with the police minister refusing, like you say, to be drawn into those issues. And he was questioned by journalists around, him having been able to speak about the police commissioner during the State of the Nation address, saying that he was nowhere to be seen. Bheki saying that, in fact, it became apparent at a later stage that he was there, but he still says he did not see him. Also giving a number of reasons as to, what could have happened specifically around that time, saying that even during the time of the arrest of the former President Jacob Zuma, he did extend an invitation to go on the ground with Khetla Sithole, but he just did not show up. So he refuses, of course, to be drawn into that, which then places the minister in the presidency responsible for state security, Mondli Gungubele, to step in terms of those questions, because you'll remember he pushed those questions to him, with Mondli Gungubele saying that, in fact, that's the president's statement. Anything else that will happen in the future will be communicated in due time.
Now, Linda, there was also then the issue around the announcing of people that were arrested during that heist, that almost heist, really, that took place was it last week, when we saw the police really swooping in on alleged suspects that were going to perform the heist, the announcement of their nationalities, but also the issue around Operation Dudula, and how we have seen that some people have said that it could cause some kind of problem, and some people might see it as being xenophobic. What was said in that regard?
Yeah, you'll remember that it's been a big talking point in the past weeks, especially since the arrest of those people who are said to have been participating in a plot to carry out a cash in transit heist. The big issue around their nationality, the police minister Bheki is saying that, in fact, they continue to work with other arms of the law in different countries, and as long as those people have not stopped, they will also not stop in terms of announcing where they come from. But it was also quite interesting looking at, that question and who it was answered by. But because before the police minister answered, Thandi Modise, who is the Minister of Defense, came forward answering that particular question, saying, there are quite a number of issues that are involved there, and saying that if there are people that are coming into the country illegally, not respecting the law of the country, not respecting the culture of the country, then they will be dealt as such. She says that the country, it seems, has been shy in addressing that they've crossed the line, and it's time that they do that. And I wonder what that then does for the conversation around this, contributing to the xenophobia that we've previously seen, given the fact that the country has seen quite a number of xenophobic attacks, but saying that, in fact, there was a time when she entered a different country, and she entered back in the days, she was wearing a miniskirt, but also because they respected the law. The ANC came and gave her the regalia to wear in order for her to be presentable and respect the laws of that country. So the standpoint there is everybody who's coming into the country, whether legal or illegal, must respect the rules of the law in terms of the South African law.
Linda, we have to obviously speak around the issue of Russia and Ukraine. There are reports this morning that the president is not happy with what has been said by DIRCO Minister Naledi Pandor. What has been said by the security cluster this morning around that statement, but also the issues of what are the plans for South Africans that are stuck in Ukraine at this stage?
Yeah, you'll remember those reports, also featuring in this particular briefing in terms of the official stance from South Africa. You'll remember International Relations Minister Naledi Pandor releasing a statement saying that, Russia should, basically go out of Ukraine. But of course, Mondli Gungubele, being the minister in the presidency, addressing that particular issue, saying that the statement remains that of, South Africa taking the approach of, talking, getting into negotiations. That is what the country believes in. And then, of course, you speak about the issue around whether there is a plan to evacuate South Africans who are stuck in either Russia or Ukraine, and whether there's been, a directive in terms of military assistance going into Ukraine, going into Russia, to assist and evacuate South Africans there. The Minister of Defense, Thandi Modise, saying at this particular point there hasn't been any directive of the need to go into Ukraine or Russia to evacuate. But as and when the need arises and there is a directive, they will, of course, be doing that.
My colleague Linda Mnisi out in Pretoria for us following that briefing.